Good morning. Today is Monday, April 12th, 2021. I have a confession. I love office supplies. I love all office supplies. I love pens. I love file folders. I love notepads. I love labels. I love paper clips in all shapes and all different materials. And my favorite office supply is Post-it notes. I love Post-it notes. I use them everywhere. I use them to remember the next step in a project or a file. I have 2 of them on my laptop right now that remind me of things that I'm supposed to be remembering to do. But what I love most about Post-it notes is their story. So in 1968, there was a fellow named Spencer Silver. He was an employee of the 3M Corporation, and he was trying to formulate glue. And he made something that was too weak. It didn't hold. You could pull it right off. And since the whole purpose of glue is to keep things stuck together, and the better glue is the stronger that it is, a glue that doesn't hold and that you could just peel something right off is a failure. He failed. And the company abandoned it. It was a waste of time and it was a waste of resources. Until several years later, someone else came along and realized, wait a second, there could be a real benefit to a glue that is so weak that you can pull something off and then put it back on, pull something off and put it somewhere else. What sounded like a weakness in glue by definition, if it doesn't stick permanently, it's a weakness, could actually be its greatest strength. And he invented Post-it notes. What was its failure was actually its success. The truth is, we are so reluctant to learn from our mistakes, but our mistakes can be our best teachers. They can give us our most valuable lessons if we would only let them. But we resist. We resist criticism. We resist reviewing our failures. And we become defensive because it's so hard to receive constructive criticism. And it's so hard to give it in a way that the recipient feels that it's supportive and not attacking. It is hard not to roll your eyes when you read this week's double Torah portion, the double parsha of Tzara'as. It's about spots that appear on a person's skin, discolorations of their skin, patches of a person's hair that turn white. It's about spots that appear on the wall of a person's house. It's just plain weird. Our sages explain that this is not leprosy, which is how it is often translated, but rather this is a spiritual appearance in response to a spiritual sin. If a person has spoken lashon hara, negative speech about someone else without any constructive purpose, a person might be afflicted with this condition called Tzara'as, which is a visible condition on a person's skin, in a person's hair, on a person's clothes, in a person's home. That was a spiritual indication, not a medical condition, but a spiritual condition that a person had done something wrong. And it's very bizarre when you think about it. Skin turning different colors and your house have patches appear. It's weird. But the Rambam explains, Maimonides explains, that this was actually an act of divine kindness. This is God giving us constructive criticism, giving us a loving message. And the message is, be careful how you speak. You may not even have realized it, but your words caused pain. Your words separated one person from another. You need to be more careful so you don't cause this kind of harm again. And the Rambam explains, Maimonides explains, that we are, it sounds ironic, but we are impoverished today not to have Tzara'as. Can you imagine for a moment what the world would be like if we were to get some kind of visible feedback that told us that we needed to be more careful about our speech, and here's the kicker, and we were convinced that that feedback was coming from one who loves us, one who is not jealous, one who only wants what is best for us, one who is God? It's an amazing thing. Imagine what the world would be like if we were to get that kind of feedback from that source and be able to use it in a positive way. I saw this quote. Many people want to serve God, but only as advisors. Imagine if we could serve God by letting Him lift us up, by letting Him improve us, by letting Him set us straight. But we don't have that feedback today. The Rambam Maimonides explains that we are not deserving of that because of Hester Panim, the hiddenness of God's face from us in these days. We do not have that kind of connection to God, that kind of feedback from God. So we only have each other. And it is so hard to say the right thing to someone else in the right way that they're able to hear it. It's so hard to hear something in the right way and to use it in a constructive fashion. But once in a while, it is possible. George Crumb was a chef in a restaurant near Saratoga, New York. In 1853, he had a customer. And every time this diner came, he would order with his meal a side dish of fried potatoes. And every time, this customer would send the plate back to the kitchen. And he would complain, they're too soggy, they're not crisp. Imagine how irritating this would be to the chef who's preparing this dish, and every time it gets sent back. So the chef decided he's going to teach this fellow a lesson. He is going to ruin the dish on purpose to show this person a lesson. So what the chef did is he cut the potatoes as thinly as possible, almost like a piece of paper. And he cooked them, he fried them so much longer than they should have been cooked. They were dark brown, almost burnt. They came out, they were crisp, they were crunchy, and the customer loved them. And that's how George Crumb invented potato chips. My friends, I want to wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.